Okay, so we've got this slot machine. What can we do with it? Well, first thing I'm going to do is go to Items. I'm going to go add a null object, and we'll call this main slot. And then in the classic scene editor, under scene editor, which is the one I like, I'm going to take this main slot and move it all the way up to the top. Take my scene editor, take my slot machine, layer 5, and my seat, as well as, by the way, my display lights. Let's take these and drag them up in, as well as my display lights. You got to do them separately. And we're going to drop those in as well. Like that. And then we still have our 3 lights. Okay. And what I did there was create a group. And that allows me to select that group, the main slot group, and I can move all this around. All right, so Shift S will save a incremental version, and then I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to clone this thing 3 times. All right. Then I take those clones, then instead of clone, I want to choose clone hierarchy. And main slot 2 now has everything copied. And I can just take that and move it all over. Come on. There we go. Just want to get a little space in between them. S will save my scene. I did a Shift S as a save incremental. And we can clone hierarchy again. The hierarchy being all of the elements within that group, within that null object. I can still go back to main slot 1, clone hierarchy, and you'll see it'll start running a little bit slower because we're just adding much more geometry. But with these that it clones the chairs and everything with it, let's do a couple more. Just hit clone hierarchy. Grab the green handle, just move it down. Now the only thing to consider here is that our main light, press 5 on your keypad and then get down to your lights. That'd be your main light there. Remember, its position doesn't matter, only its location. I mean, it's only its rotation, its location doesn't matter. So because they're distant lights, we're actually doing pretty well in the fact that we probably won't have to change our lighting at all. What we might want to change, though, is our camera. So open up your camera properties, and let's get this a little bit wider, kind of like that. Then press T for move, and let's get the camera right up in here, down at the end. Kind of like that. And let's rotate a little bit. And just let those slot machines fall off the back end there, which is kind of cool. Save the scene. And let me just do a quick render, show you how that looks. Now the render doesn't take too much longer than it did before, which is kind of fun. But our backlight still works. Our main front light. Everything else. Lights inside the units, the glow. All works pretty well. Okay. The other thing you can do too is you can put spotlights above it if you want to make that shine down like there's more of an environment around it. That's fine too. Okay. So from here, let's just take the camera over maybe 90 frames, and we're going to come into this middle one where we started. We're just going to move down here. Oops, let me undo that real quick. Go to frame 90, or about frame 70 or so. Then we're going to move that in. And with auto key on, This is actually going to create a keyframe for us. So what I'm doing is I already set the first position at 0. Now here's the second position. And then I'm going to get over here to modify, hit my actually items. What happens here is I'm so used to a larger screen. This gets me every time. I'm not used to the more buttons. Lightwave, of course, when you have a larger screen, all of your tools are available. But now we have it shrunk down for recording. It jumps into these more buttons. So under modify, there's the move TCB. And at frame 72, I want a tension of 1. That will ease in the camera. And at frame 0, I want a tension of 1. And that eases in the camera, eases out the camera. Okay, so the camera's just going to slowly come out and then come up to see the slot machine. And just before it gets there, we want to take this handle. Okay, so frame 64, create a keyframe for it. We want that to stay in place from 0 until 64. Okay, so we're going to also set a move TCB of 1, tension of 1. It's going to help keep it in place. And at frame 0, tension of 1. Again, for the selected handle. And then at frame 76, about half a second, I'm going to press the Y key for rotate. Remember, pitch is the only one that's active. And now we can, probably not that much. That lever can come down at 76. Let's hold it there for maybe 2 frames. So create a key at 78. And then at frame 90, we bring it back up. And if you want it the exact same place, go to frame 64, create a key at 90. And what that does is copy the keyframe. Puts it right back there. We'll save the scene, and let's make our scene a little bit longer, about 160 frames. From here, once that hits, that was frame 74, 76 that is, we're going to go to this first wheel. So I can just click on it, if you get it right. And if not, just do it here. We'll take the left wheel and the center wheel and the right wheel. They are locked at frame 76. Left wheel, create a key at frame 76, and right wheel. Okay, I'm just hitting my enter key each time. And from there, let's give it, let's go to frame 140. We're going to make these a little shorter. And all we want to do is rotate each one of these on the pitch as well. And we're going to rotate it forward like this. So it's going to go in a negative direction. And let's say we want it to spin, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. Well, 360 once. Let me pull out my little calculator here. 360 times, let's say 6 times. 2160. So I'm going to go negative 2160 at frame 140. And what's going to happen is that that's going to spin around 6 times until that. And at that 76 frame where it starts, again, move TCB, do an ease out, so set a tension of 1. And at frame 140, do an ease in, and that will just make it slow down. And we'll save the scene. Okay, so let's move on to the next video, and I'll show you how you can copy that motion.